its framing of the question. And he asks, is there definitive proof that the Torah maintains that there is life on other planets? Not really, but it does give us reason to pause and contemplate the awesome universe that God created. I think that's a great way to begin our discussion. And so let's look at something a little bit more specific, if we can. And we're going to start off with these really interesting. No question. All right, no question. So if we look at the very beginning of the Torah, in the book of Bereshit, in the book of Genesis, we have these characters, these creatures, these beings called Nephilim. Okay, and here's the verse from the Torah. And unfortunately, let's see if I can move Zoom out of the way. There we go. So Hanephilim hayu ba'aretz b'yamim hahem v'gam acharei chen asher yava'u b'nei ha'elohim el benot ha'adam v'yaldu lahem hema hagiborim asher me'olam anshe Hashem. So it was then and later on that the Nephilim appeared on the earth. Okay, when divine beings cohabited with the human women who bore them offspring. Such were the heroes of old, the men of renown. So the question is, who are these Nephilim? Well, they certainly seem to come from the root nafal, which means to fall, but from where did they come? And it's kind of interesting that this is a commentary from a 19th century Bible commentator called the Malbim. And one of the interesting things about the Malbim is that one of his missions, or the aim of the Malbim, is to show that everything that we learn in the oral Torah, in the Talmud, you can actually find somewhere in the written Torah as well. So that's his gig. So the question is, were these guys, these Nephilim, were they actually aliens that came from another planet? And it's interesting to see what the Malbim says. He says, Mi hayu b'nei ha'elohim, who are these sons of gods? Notice it's plural, right? Gods. Hem elish amru shehem b'nei ha'elohim v'naflu mishamayim. So they came out of the sky. They fell out of the sky. So there are stories about these kind of creatures in those days and even in later days. So that all contemporary literature, so that every contemporary literature, so for all the people who lived at the same time as those people who they talking about at the time of the Bible, they all have similar narratives in their literature about beings that came from the sky and cohabited with women from earth, and they engender this, strange kind of hybrid race. So the question you want to ask is, if so many different cultures have the same narrative, it means that something definitely happened there. If it's in the Torah and in so many other contemporary literature, clearly there is some kind of event that took place, or there was a perception that there were some beings that came from the heavens or from heaven that came down to earth and that kind of fancied women from earth and kind of enjoyed them a lot and ended up with this race. And there's commentaries about that. These people end up being the evil people that led to the evil that led to the requirement of Noah having to come and build the ark, because the world became so evil as a result of the actions of these particular people. So there's all kinds of commentaries that talk about them. But the question is, were they aliens? Were they sons of other gods? Because is that easier do we want to entertain, are there other gods beside our God? Which would be another topic that neither one of us wants to address today. So something to think about. So Rabbi, maybe we'll turn it over to you for a while so that you can get in trouble instead of me for a minute.